Top 10 WNBA players dominating the 2025 season. We've reached the All-Star break, which means it's time to check back in with player rankings. If you missed the preseason edition, you can check that out here. There's a push and pull to updating things. We have 21 to 24 games to react to, which certainly isn't nothing as a sample, but there's still half, or a little more, of a season to go. Parsing through, Player X is having a better season than Player Y, versus Player X is better than Player Y, wasn't an easy task, but I made some judgment calls. Some players have earned their way out of the honorable mention section, hello Angel Reese and Aaliyah Boston in particular, and some players are omitted due to injury woes, a slight shift from the preseason process. We're rolling with a 15-game minimum for this, roughly 70% of league average games played to this point of the season. Ultimately, the criteria remains a mix of current skill set value, production, this season weighs the heaviest, but body of work still means something, efficiency and impact. With down years, players with a history of productivity and impact get a little more grace from me than younger players who haven't yet proven it consistently. Roster and role context obviously affect different players in different ways, and I tried my best to account for that when putting this list together. And as a final reminder, no, I do not hate your favorite player who may be ranked lower than you'd like. Let's get into the rankings, shall we? All stats are current through games played on July 16th. The stats are courtesy of WNBA.com, basic player stats / advanced team stats, PBP stats, lineup combinations, or second spectrum, player or team tracking / playtype data, unless otherwise noted. Honorable mentions. 1 of 9. Indiana Fever v Phoenix Mercury. Chris Caduto / Getty Images. You simply can't make everyone happy with ranked lists. Top 10? You must hate the player you'd hypothetically have 11th. Top 15? Surely you want the 16th player to lose internet access right before an important meeting. By virtue of going with a top 20 list, there are going to be multiple players who were selected for this year's All-Star game that won't be included. Quick apologies to the rookie duo of Sonia Citron and Kiki Iriefan, for example. The league is really freaking talented. Before digging into the top 20, here are a few, just a few, players I had a tough time leaving off and was sure people would ask about. First, the did not qualify, games played, list. Caitlin Clark, 13 games played. I ranked Clark 5th entering the season, but quad and groin injuries have derailed her sophomore season to this point. Her basic box score numbers, 16.5 points, 5.0 rebounds, 8.8 assists, 1.6 steals, are still unmatched, but her efficiency, 49.1 true shooting, 4.6 points below league average, has plummeted from last season, 58.3 true shooting, plus 4.7. It's been interesting watching teams dial down the blitzing she saw last season and opt for more switching. Hopefully we get a healthier second half from Clark to see how quickly she's able to problem solve on that front. I don't have long-term concerns. She remains floor-tilting, game-changing talent. Jonquil Jones, 9 games ranked 8th in the preseason piece. There was high likelihood that she'd be sliding up in this one if she was able to stay healthy. Jones will make her return from an ankle injury sometime after the All-Star break, and the Liberty couldn't be more pleased with that development. Her blend of size, shooting skill, passing, rim protection, rebounding and overall versatility makes her uniquely difficult to replace. Kalia Copper, 6 games ranked 10th heading into the year. Copper hasn't really had a chance to leave her mark on this year's Mercury team yet. We've gotten early glimpses of how her driving and pull-up comfort can mesh with the MVP-level play of Alyssa Thomas. More on her later. Here's hoping we get to see more of it after the break. And here are a few more names in alphabetical order that deserve a shout-out. Chelsea Gray. Gray has enjoyed a return of her shot-making, 48.6% on twos, 37.2% on threes, and remains the league's most audacious passer. That audacity, as endearing as it is, has bitten her more often this year as she's averaging a career-high 3.4 turnovers. The decline in burst has also shown itself on film, though she deserves a hat tip for the amount of strips and deflections she's generated to compensate for it. Brittany Griner. Griner has adjusted mostly fine in Carl Smesko's new system and the spacing that it requires. We've seen her benefit from those tweaks. She's being double-teamed at a lower rate than last year, for example, but she's been below her usual dominance on the interior. She's converted 52% on twos, the lowest mark she's logged since her 12-game 2020 campaign. It's also worth noting that teams have gotten more comfortable putting her in action, and that Smesko often closes games with Griner on the bench at this point. Like Ogunbowl has struggled to gain a rhythm amidst all the change around her, personnel, schematic, you name it. Throw in the fact that she's been injured, and it's easy to understand why this has been such a down year for her. Still, Ogunbowl remains ignitable as a scorer and garners tough defensive assignments despite her slow start to the season. Alana Smith. If not for Smith's three-point shooting dipping again, 27.3% on 4.1 attempts in July, Smith might have wound up in the top 20 for me. It's been yet another high-impact season with her screening, finishing, and quietly DPOY-level prowess on the defensive end. I thought she deserved legitimate all-star consideration, but that's for another article, I suppose. Azura Stevens. Stevens has broken out in what has been an odd season in Los Angeles. Players her height shouldn't be able to shoot 40.6% on 4.4 attempts, or drive as well as she does, much less be able to do both. She's one of my favorite players in the league to watch, though her defense within the Sparks' aggressive system hasn't been as impactful as her box score numbers, 1.5 steals, 1.3 blocks, would suggest. Courtney Williams. Is Williams, now a multi-time All-Star, a better streamer or point guard at this point? Don't answer that. After a slow shooting start to the season, Williams has settled into her usual role as a smooth pick-and-roll creator, 0.97 PPP, third among 35 high-volume PNR players that can run hot at any given time, especially fourth quarters.